And welcome back, everybody, to the WyoSports video blog. Once again, previewing the Wyoming Cowboys football program. This week, Florida Atlantic comes to the friendly confines of War Memorial Stadium. I'm Scott Nulph, sports editor at WyoSports, joined by Robert Gagliardi, senior sports editor at WyoSports. Robert, quickly on Oregon, first of all, your thoughts coming out of that game, 48-14 loss for the Cowboys.
Well, unfortunately, that's what it was, a 48-14 loss. I mean, no one's happy about that around here right now, and that's a good thing. And granted, Oregon was multi-talented, speed, athleticism all over the place. There was some good things Wyoming did. I thought offensively they ran the ball better than I thought, and even moved the ball better than I thought they would consistently through the game, although they still only were able to put 14 points on the board. Defensively, I think Oregon was everything they thought they'd be, but even more. I mean, Wyoming, other than the goal line stand early in the game, really didn't stop them at all, and that was a little disappointing, and I know it was disappointing for the defense, but as Craig Bohl said in his Monday news conference, Scott, 48-14 isn't acceptable against it. It doesn't matter who they play, and I think that's a good thing to take. I know I've heard some fans say, "Hey, boy, there were some encouraging things," and there was. I don't want to take away any of the positives, but the bottom line was it was a 48-14 loss, and that's what this program is not about.
Right. As we fast forward now to Florida Atlantic this Saturday, not a program that I think a lot of people know about. One of the newcomers in the FBS ranks. They played a tough schedule to begin with. Alabama and Nebraska got righted a little bit. What are we thinking about Florida Atlantic this week?
Well, I think they're going to come in here, Scott, with some speed and athleticism. Maybe not Oregon-level speed and athleticism, but still some dangerous weapons there. The quarterback, Jacques Johnson, is a dual-threat quarterback who can run and throw, throws the deep ball particularly well. He didn't play in their loss at Alabama, but came back last week against Tulsa, threw 3 touchdowns, threw for 300 yards in their 50-21 win over Tulsa. He's very good and very dangerous. A bigger guy, too, 6'2",
right.
210, 220 pounds. So someone Wyoming's going to have to be aware of. And then I think, to me, the name of the year, at least so far, that we've dealt with, Lucky Whitehead is a receiver and return specialist for Florida Atlantic, who's very dangerous. Their leading receiver, very dangerous in the return game. In a lot of respects, Wyoming's going to have to take some similar approaches with these two guys as they did with Oregon, try to keep Johnson kind of pinned in the pocket, keep him out of rhythm, which they were never able to do against Marcus Mariota. But also when Whitehead gets in the game, watch his speed. If you can, avoid him in the special teams, kick away from him, do what you have to. Those are certainly weapons that Florida Atlantic possesses.
How about on defense? What do we kind of think for Florida Atlantic on defense? I would assume an athletic team again on that side of the football.
A 4-3 look that Wyoming uses. It's really the first time since the opener against Montana that they've seen a 4-3 look. So I think Wyoming feels good about that, just in the fact that they run a 4-3 and they see that in practice a lot. A big defensive front. I think they could probably get after you. They got an all-conference cornerback in the secondary that they're going to have to be aware of. But again, there's going to be speed. There's going to be athleticism. I'm not at the level of Oregon, but there's still enough talent on this football team, Scott, where Wyoming can't just say, "Hey, we're just showing up here.
Right,
we're going to win." They're not at that level yet, and I think the coaches and the players know that. But I think if Wyoming can, show up and play and compete like they have, I think they've got a good chance. But they just can't just expect to walk on the field on Saturday.
What are your thoughts about how Wyoming responds to a loss like that? Like I said, fans might have been okay with what happened. They didn't get blown out, didn't give up 60 points. The team was. How do you think they respond on Saturday?
Well, we'll find out starting at about 2:05 on Saturday, and that's what I'm really interested about. Is we've seen over the last few years where Wyoming's maybe gotten their heads handed to them by these bigger opponents, but maybe they'll come back. But how do they respond from the loss? This is the first time in the Bowl era that they've had to, and even for the coaches, Craig Bohl and his staff, or at least the guys he brought here, hadn't lost since 2012.
Right.
They had a 26-game winning streak snap. So how do they respond to it? And that's what I'm really interested in, particularly on defense. We saw against Air Force where Wyoming was able to make some plays, but and made them when they count. But Air Force did some things against them that was effective. Obviously, anytime you get beat 48-14 by anybody, that can be humbling for a defense. How does this defense respond? I do think they're better than maybe some of the numbers indicate, but now it's time to show it. That's what I'm really interested in. Obviously, offense has to play well, but I'm really curious of how the defense responds after coming off the beating in Oregon.
Yeah, it certainly is a bounce-back game for Wyoming. A game, honestly, if you're a team that has bowl aspirations, it's a toss-up game. It's a game that you kind of need to win at home if you want to get to that 6-win mark. So as we get to that, let's get our predictions. What are your thoughts on Saturday? What do you think happens here on War Memorial Stadium?
I think it's going to be a will of kind of tempos. If Wyoming can control the tempo, manage the clock, control the tempo, and obviously finish drives. They had they ran 6 more plays than Oregon. They had a ton more time of possession, but you got to finish drives. Wyoming can do that, do a little better job of that. I like their chances. Now, Florida Atlantic, if they can come in here and utilize their speed, maybe get some big plays on the edges, big plays deep in the pass game, which they're known to do, get some momentum early, stay in this game, that could work to their advantage. I think if I like Wyoming's chances of disrupting Florida Atlantic. At least I think that's going to be the biggest key. And if Wyoming can do that, I think the Cowboys win 27-14.
I think right about there. I'm going to go a little higher scoring. I think 30-21, Wyoming wins. I think Saturday we see kind of that bowl era football where you wear a team down. They may not be ahead after the first quarter, Wyoming. They may not be ahead at halftime. But I think in the third and fourth quarters, at this altitude with a sea-level team, you wear them down, you find a way to win in the fourth quarter. Like I said, 31-20, Wyoming.
All right, well, that'll do it for this week's edition of the WyoSports video blog. For more on Wyoming sports, see the Wyoming Tribune Eagle and Laramie Boomerang. Check back to WyoSports.net. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the game.